have reclaim your health, right? By cultivating healthy habits. A good place to start would be, what is health, right? Optimal health might be defined as reliable, sustained energy every day, consistently, uninterrupted, restorative sleep where you awake refreshed and ready for that day, clear-minded, focused, good memory. Optimal health is trouble-free digestion, right? You don't even need to talk about or think about foods to avoid or paying for it later. Healthy weight and muscle tone that's easy to maintain, right? Healthy skin, hair, and nails. Optimal health is, I think we would all agree, is so much more than simply an absence of symptoms. Yet, we have a modern medical model of care that is pretty much wholly focused on managing symptoms. Well, symptoms are important, but they are not common. There's our optimal health. Symptoms are an indicator that something is wrong or out of balance. In fact, 70 to 80% of all doctors' visits are stress-related. And I can tell you that the root cause of all disease is stress. Now, I'm not speaking about, there's a couple different kinds of stress. There is the eustress, which for some people, it's super exciting to be on roller coasters or to jump out of a perfectly good airplane. They would find that exhilarating and invigorating. Some people, not me. But that would be an example of eustress. Not all stress is bad. When I talk about stress, I'm referring to the distress. And there's three kinds of distress. There is mental emotional, there's physical mechanical, and there's chemical and biochemical. Now, an example of mental emotional, I think we can all relate. For just a few years ago, everybody was going through some kind of emotional or mental stress. But loss of a loved one, right? Divorce. There are things that have a mental emotional root that are presented and show up in a very physiological way, right? Insomnia, panic attacks, lack of, the digestive issues, weight loss or gain. There are things that can show up because of that mental emotional stress. Physical stress, a mechanical stress. My daughter, this is her first year in track. Her shin splints are said to be worsening to a torn stress fracture, right? That is a physical or a mechanical stress. Broken bones, fractures, plantar fasciitis. These are things that are going to have an impact on our physiology and our body, because if you're compensating over years of being out of alignment, that's going to affect your digestion. That may be the root cause of your migraines. There are serious things that come as a result of unaddressed physical, mechanical stresses on your body. And then the third type of stress would be a chemical, biochemical stress. And this is where labs would really be handy to identify and look deeper. Is it the heavy metal toxicities from that amalgam filling, right? The lead paint from the house that you grew up in. It could be pathogens, right? Hate to say it, but it could be parasites. It could be giardia or some kind of something you got on that last camping trip. So the chemical, biochemical stress, we are all surrounded by all kinds of environmental toxins in the products that we use in, on, and around our bodies. That can have a serious impact on our health. And I hate to say it, but prescription medications would be lumped in there also. You go to the doctor, you get a prescription for one thing, you have all these side effects, it doesn't feel good, you get another prescription for something else, and then people are on medications for years and years, and they actually take their toll on our organs. If you read the side effects, it's known to kill the kidneys, kill the livers, and so you go in every few months because they're monitoring it because they know the effects that it has on it. So that can be a chemical and biochemical stress. So then how do we fix it, right? That's the point. You've got the power. What if I was to say to you that you have the power to significantly change the trajectory of your health? And it's free. Do not underestimate the power that you have in your own hands to choose. As long as you don't give it away, you have that power to choose. And our health is really a compilation of the many choices we make every day. So don't underestimate that power. And don't underestimate the value of that power because it's free. Salvation is free, but its value is beyond priceless. So the things that I want to share with you are simple yet profound. And when you do them and you make a habit of them, I can honestly tell you it will reduce the risk of all morbidity factors: cancer, diabetes, Alzheimer's, heart disease, you name it. You do these things and you will reduce the risk factors of all of those. And you can start today. Ready? The first one, breathe. Now, stick with me. Breathe better. Breathe deeper and breathe through your nose. We are not breathing deep enough. That belly diaphragmatic breathing that stimulates our vagus nerve, if we are not doing that, you are not fully oxygenating your body or your tissues. You're preventing the removal of toxins from your cells. Breathing is a powerful thing. Our existence came into being, right, with a breath, right? We need to breathe better. Breathe through your nose. We are fearfully and wonderfully made, and the architecture of your nose is such that when air enters through your nose, it spirals, not just hitting the hairs on your nose to filter it, but it is warmed and it is moistened. Do not bypass the divine architecture of your body by breathing through your mouth. It's going to filter out all kinds of particulates and viruses and things. You breathe through your nose. And I'm talking at night too, when you sleep. For those of you that are mouth breathers at night, I'd recommend trying to put a little bit of tape on your mouth to make sure and encourage that nasal breathing at night. There's a lot that can be said about each one of these things that I'm going to be talking about. Like, I could seriously talk about for an hour on each of them. Time is limited. Just suffice it to say, these are really good tips. I'd be happy to talk more about it another time. If you are interested, let me know. Number 2, I will confess, this is probably going to be the hardest thing, but you got to cut out the sugar. Sugar is essentially a toxin and a poison on the body. It is inflammatory. It diminishes our immune system by almost half for several hours after consuming. So if you're having that double macchiato, caramel, espresso, sugar fluff stuff in the morning, and then you're having something in the afternoon and something even, you're constantly dosing with something that is harmful to your body, and you do that over a lifetime, it's going to have an impact on your health. It's going to shorten your lifespan. You're going to predispose and raise the risk of all the other things that we really want to avoid. So the goal is to stay about 25 grams a day, and you're going to have to start reading labels. But when you do, you're going to be shocked at how much sugar we actually consume. In fact, Bexar County is typically number 1 in the nation of diabetes. And diabetes is so closely related to obesity. I don't know if you've heard the term diabesity. Like, we are number 1 in the nation because we love our sugar. That pan dulce is so good. But you keep it at about 25 grams a day, and you will reduce the risk of all of those things. I would like to say, if you or someone you know is particularly they really like their sugar, it may not be them that's craving it. And what I mean to say is that candida and parasites love sugar. You might want to get tested. It is an addiction, so no judgment. Number 3, eat more fruits and vegetables. Ideally organic, unprocessed, and truly let your food be your medicine. Food can be your medicine when you approach it as such. I recommend people go to the Environmental Working Group website, ewg.org, and there you will find their annually updated list of the Clean 15 and the Dirty Dozen. Is anyone familiar with those lists? Yes. Really good. We have a limited budget. I tell people, my insurance is spent at the grocery store, right? Ideally, I'd love to buy everything organic. I can't. The Environmental Working Group does their homework for you so you don't have to. Go get their list and know the Clean 15 are conventionally grown fruits and vegetables that you can purchase that are not grown using a whole lot of chemicals or pesticides. So they're not as dangerous or toxic. The Dirty Dozen, on the other hand, are typically grown with the most chemicals and pesticides, and there's going to be the greatest amount of residue. So if you eat them, you're getting that toxin as well. Strawberries, bell peppers, peaches, they're typically at the top of the list of the dirty dozen. Mangoes, avocados, they're examples of ones that are typically on the Clean 15. Check them out. It's a great website. You can check it out for other products, cosmetics. That's a big source of endocrine disruptors for a lot of people. It's a really great place. They've done a lot of homework to make things easier for you. Number 4, water. We are composed mostly of water, so it only makes sense that we need to rehydrate and get enough of it. Make sure that it is filtered. I would not recommend tap water. It's been studied, there's so many other things in it, and at the other end of it, if you are drinking only, say, a reverse osmosis water, it's stripped of all the trace minerals, so you're gonna have to add that back in. If you're only drinking water out of plastic bottles, there's things that leach from the plastic into the water that are known endocrine disruptors, that are mess with your hormone balance, that are make sure that you have weight that you can't get off. It could be from the water and the bottle that you're drinking it from, or rather the plastic bottle. So there's a whole lot that could be said on water. There's some really amazing things that have recently come out about water. In fact, if you really want to geek out of some really cool stuff, look up the 4th phase of water. And it's up there with Star Trek. It's amazing, the things that we are discovering about water. But suffice it to say, drink half your body weight in ounces every day, and you'll be good with getting enough water. Enough filtered, trace mineral laden water that's not from plastic bottles. And number 5, stop eating 2 or 3 hours before bedtime. Now, this isn't so much as like an intermittent fasting, because there's a lot of people that are doing that. If you want to kind of take it a step further, I suggest that you're welcome to talk to me or just Google, or I don't think ChatGPT can tell you how to do it, but intermittent fasting is helpful. But if at the very least, just stop eating before you go to bed. Our bodies have a natural rhythm and cycle that they were designed to operate in. Work with your body and in its natural rhythms. And if you're adding the stress to it breaking down and metabolizing food at a time where it's really supposed to be for working on something else, then it's going to do neither very well. So in conclusion, habits happen. I used to homeschool my kids, and I subscribed to a Charlotte Mason style of education, and she's talked about how habits happen. And you can either be proactive to form the good habits, or do nothing and be sure that bad habits are going to form. So this is all about you have a choice. Choose to cultivate some good habits and harness your health and the power to optimize your health. And I hope that some of this has been helpful. If you have questions, I'm happy to answer them for you. Thank you.